The poem Constantly Risking Absurdity by Lawrence Ferlinghetti explores the idea of creativity as a dangerous balancing act. The mood of the poem feels tense yet inspiring, as there's always this sense that one small mistake could lead to failure, but that risk is exactly what makes art powerful. The theme is about the courage and balance needed to express creativity, and how both the poet and the acrobat must take risks and maintain control while performing in front of others. Experts like Jamie Lee Hammond explain that the poem's irregular rhythm and structure resemble the movement of a tightrope walker, full of tension and release. I agreed with this interpretation because it connects perfectly to Ferlinghetti's message that creative expression involves emotional vulnerability and constant risk. Hammond noticed how the poet's performance mirrors an acrobat's balancing between success and failure, truth and absurdity. I also saw how this connects more deeply to the human spirit, showing how brave it is to keep creating even when failure is possible. In terms of form, style, and content, the free verse and lack of structure makes the poem feel unstable, like walking a wire with no safety net. The play on words like rhyme, spelled R-I-M-E, for rhyme with the traditional spelling, and the imagery of balancing on I-beams brings the metaphor to life, making the reader visualize that same tension and precision the poet feels. The poem's zigzag shape even looks like a tightrope, forcing the reader's eyes to move carefully, just like the poet or acrobat must. For my visual, I wanted to represent that same balance between risk and beauty. I started by painting the blue sky as the base because it's a light, free color that represents imagination, openness, and the poet's creative mind. Then, I added some white clouds, which symbolize the goals, hopes, and dreams that float above the sense of clarity and achievement that comes when creativity succeeds. I finished the top half with a bright sun, representing success, truth, and beauty, which is what both the poet and the acrobat are reaching towards. For the bottom half, I chose a background that's slightly lighter than black but still dark to symbolize the fear, risk, and uncertainty that sit below the performer. I added spikes to show how real the danger of failure is, as one wrong move and the poet falls into criticism, self-doubt, or creative collapse. Finally, I glued googly eyes at the bottom to represent the sea of faces watching as the audience's constant gaze and judgment that both the acrobat and poet must perform under. To add another layer of meaning, I focused on texture to make the visual feel more alive and connected to the poem's tension. For the clouds, I used cotton balls because their soft, uneven texture represents the uncertain nature of success. They look light and peaceful from far away, but up close they're delicate and imperfect, just like the poet's creative process. The rope that cuts across the middle is made from real string, which adds both physical and symbolic tension. The texture of the rope gives the painting a three-dimensional feel, reminding the viewer that this tightrope isn't just metaphorical, it's something real that holds the poet's and acrobat's entire balance. At the bottom, I used googly eyes to create texture and movement. Their shiny plastic surface catches light differently each time you look at them, symbolizing the judgment of the audience, sometimes encouraging while also sometimes intimidating. The uneven surface also reflects the unpredictability of performing in front of others, which mirrors the poem's unstable rhythm and tone. By mixing paint, rough rope, and soft cotton, the texture in my visual mirrors the poem's contrast between freedom and fear, and between lightness and pressure. It helps viewers feel the same sense of tension the poem creates, the feeling of trying to stay balanced while everything around you could collapse. Just to recap, the layout of my visual is divided into two clear halves, light versus dark, creativity versus danger. The top symbolizes hope and imagination, while the bottom represents fear and risk. This acts as a boundary between the two worlds. Thank you for listening.